I'm sorry if you thought that you accidentally clicked on MKBHD's video. Hey, how's it going? So, the iPhone 17 Pro has just been dropped. Not just 17 Pro, the whole 17 lineup iPhone 17, 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and the newest iPhone Air. You've probably already seen the cinematic unboxing, the first impression, the hands on videos of the iPhone 17 series. As always, calling it the best iPhone ever. And maybe, just maybe, your brain has already started saying, maybe I need this. But hold on, do you really need a new iPhone? Or have you been just conditioned to think so? I know because I've been there. I've been an iPhone user for the past 10 years. My first iPhone was iPhone 5S and I didn't buy it new. I always used to buy a year or a 2 year older generation iPhone. But once I finally bought the latest current generation iPhone, I'm talking about the iPhone X. In my opinion, the most revolutionary iPhone in the history that Apple has ever created. And I will talk about it later on. But still, even though the design was so revolutionary and it was the peak of innovation, just after a week of buying the latest iPhone X, the excitement wore off and I was left wondering, why did I spend so much money on it? $1,000 on something which I don't need really in my day to day life. Now, I'm not going to talk about the specs of the latest iPhone, that how it is just 10 to 20% faster than the older generation, or how the camera on the latest iPhone is slightly 10% better than the last year iPhone. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to talk about specs, or I'm not going to draw comparisons between the latest iPhone 17 Pro and the older generation 16 series. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to talk about the trap of consumerism, which has been mastered by none other than Apple. Their marketing isn't about specs or feature, it's about psychology. Think about it. Every September, the whole community of tech influencers flood the YouTube with the hands-on first impressions, and later on, at the end of the month, the reviews of iPhone. But let's be honest here, most of those videos aren't journalism. It's marketing dressed as entertainment. The lightning, the slow-mo shots of the latest iPhone, calling it magical, calling it an absolute game changer. It's designed to make you feel like that if you are not upgrading, you are missing out on something huge. But here's the truth. You are not buying the new iPhone. You are buying just a dopamine hit. You are buying an illusion of progress. You are buying an illusion of success. You are buying an illusion of status. You are buying an illusion that somehow your life will get any better just by buying the latest iPhone. But here's the problem, that illusion fades faster than the unboxing of peel from the screen of the new iPhone. Recently, I finished a book called Psychology of Money, and one chapter that hits home was called A Man in Cars Paradox. Now, what is a man in cars paradox? The Morgan Housel, the author of the book, describes that whenever a man buys a fancy car, he thinks that everyone who will look at me while driving the car will think that, oh, I'm such a cool guy. But in reality, what's happening is whenever he's driving that car and other people look at him while driving, they don't think that he's the coolest person. They think, wow, what a nice car. I would look so cool if I was driving that car. You see, they don't transfer the respect, the admiration to the person who bought the car and is driving his car. They attach the respect and admiration to that car, not the person who bought it. We all crave respect and admiration. And that's why we buy these expensive things which most people can't, because we think that somehow that these things which we are buying will lead us into more respect. And it hits home because I had the same mindset years ago. I remember back in 2017 when iPhone X released, I spent all my savings on it. Not just savings, even I asked my parents to help me to buy the new phone. I was not buying it because it was such a revolutionary. It wasn't a prime reason, it was a reason but not the primary reason. But I was buying it because I had this idea that if I buy this phone, my peers, my friends will think, oh, he's such a great guy, oh, he's such a cool dude, he bought the latest iPhone X. But here's the thing, when I bought the phone and I showed my friends my latest iPhone X, they didn't think that, oh, I am such a great guy, oh, I'm such a cool dude. They were thinking, it would have been so better if we had this much amount of money to spend on a phone. We looked so cool with this phone. And I realized it after years because, to be honest, my respect in their eyes never increased. That's the paradox. The respect which you are trying to get by buying expensive gadgets, cars, or houses never sticks to you. It actually sticks to the thing that you bought. If you want to be treated with respect, my advice is you start respecting yourself. If you really want respect of the people, the Morgan Hughes will say that you should be kind, you should be caring, and you should be empathetic, because when you are really a nice person, everyone will respect you, not for just buying the latest iPhone. Now let's talk about innovation. And in this section I will use some technical words, so please bear with me. I remember back in the day when Apple shifted from the 7th generation of the iPhones to iPhone 10, it was truly revolutionary. It was truly the peak innovation. From going home button screen to full screen notch display, it was truly revolutionary. That was really a massive change. No home button, no touch ID, no LCD. Instead, now it was OLED, it was Face ID. The iPhone X literally changed the way we interact with our iPhones. But in recent years, the upgrades are marginal. Now it's just 10% speed bump than the last year. Now it's just another 48 megapixel than the last year. Now I think that Apple isn't the Apple that used to be. Apple used to conquer. Apple used to grab the remaining market share. But now it feels like that Apple is not going out of its reach. It feels like that Apple is now just protecting what it has in the market. And still, after knowing all this, we still fall for the new iPhone anyways. The ancient philosopher Epicurus in this regard said something profound. Nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little. What he means here is that if you don't appreciate what you have, nothing new will ever satisfy you. And Apple thrives on exact psychology. Their entire business model is built on making you feel that the last year's iPhone or any older iPhone which you have is not enough, and you should absolutely go and buy the newer iPhone. And they just don't play it psychologically. They were literally caught slowing down the older iPhones, and they lost the case in the court. And the excuse which they come up with is kind of funny to me. Over time the battery has dropped. In order to maintain the operations of the iPhone smoothly, we had to slow the older iPhone down. Now I don't buy this excuse, but if you want to, sure, be my guest. Another thing which I learned from the book Psychology of Money is the wealth is what you don't see. If you're kind of a person who think that if I spend $1,200 on the iPhone 17 Pro and people will think, oh, he's wealthy, oh, he's loaded, I have a news for you. You have already spent that wealth or a part of your wealth on that iPhone 17 Pro, because the money which you are spent on the iPhone 17 Pro, the latest iPhone, is not going to increase, it's going to down. The moment you open the box, the moment you peel off the paper off the screen and turn on the phone, the price of the phone has already been dropped. It's now labeled as used. And after a year, the price of this iPhone will drop even more when the newer model rolls out. Think about the opportunity cost. An iPhone 17 Pro cost you around about $1,200 or more. Let's suppose if you've invested that money somewhere else and let the compounding do its magic. In just a couple of years, you would have grown that money into thousands of dollars, and that will be something to flex about. As the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said, wealth is like a seawater. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. Buying one iPhone doesn't satisfy you, it just makes you crave for the next one. and that's exactly how they want. So let me be clear here. iPhone 17 Pro isn't a scam. I think it's an incredible piece of technology. But the real question is, do you really need the latest iPhone 17 Pro? And let me answer it technically. If you're someone who owns iPhone 14, 15 or even 16, then I think you shouldn't even think about upgrading. But if you're someone who's coming from iPhone 10, 11 or 12 like me, yes, I still have an iPhone 12 and I'm recording this very video from iPhone 12, then maybe you should consider about upgrading. Because if you're using that older iPhone, it shows that you are a kind of a person who's going to use that phone for 4 or 5 years, and that totally makes sense. But if you are coming from the newer generation, it doesn't make any sense. Apple doesn't sell you just a product, they sell you a feeling. The feeling that you are not enough unless you buy the latest iPhone. So next time when Apple launches a newer model, and this video will be applicable in the future as well, unless they bring something such a revolutionary device that you just can't stop yourself from buying, then I can understand. But until that day comes, ask yourself this question: do I actually need this, or have I just been conditioned to want it? Because the most powerful decision that you can make isn't upgrading, it's choosing contentment. I hope that you learned a thing or two from this video, and let me know down in the comments that what are your opinions about these yearly upgrades, and I will see you in another one. Peace.